1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in they Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters don't move, whatever click you choose.
So by you being from Sacramento, California, which is of course Northern California, for those who don't know, what was your interaction and alliance like, if any, with the Northerners?
I had no problems with Northerners on the streets. Like, real talk, I had no problem with them. And so inside, at that point, coming into prison as a youngster, they was my partners in my eyes. Like, I didn't have no problems with no Northerners. But I could say that the alliance was pretty much intact for a while till about the early 2000s. And so I didn't see that. Them was my partners. I ain't gonna lie. And then when I hit Solano and it started being on with them more frequently, you know, things changed to where you pick and choose which ones you cool with. But let me add this to the alliance part. Like the real alliance coming from Sacramento was with the LA Bloods. Like that's the real alliance. And I had to learn a lesson real quick on this yard as a kid, being on the yard. I'm shooting dice. Remember they say don't gamble on your ass, right?
Right.
So I'm cool with. I was okay as long as I got money. I'm cool to gamble. I don't know about the other lessons that come with that. And I'm shooting dice with Tiny Loco from Inglewood Fam, and I'm licking them. I came with a box of cigarettes. Remember that $5 humps when humps was $5?
Right.
I came with a hot pack of humps, and struck the whole dice table to the point they was running in the buildings and going to grab more canteen to shoot. And I'm backdooring fours and everything. So I'm trying to leave, kind of in a sense. It's getting a little hostile because now my homies is getting into it with the LA homies behind the scenes. I mean, I'm shooting, but they getting into it. And remember, I'm the young homie. I'm the baby homie on the yard. Man, next thing you know, we start posturing up, squaring up on the table. And so when they call yard recall, I go in the cell, right? An emotional ass celly, automatically he's not talking to me. He's mad at me, but he's not talking. He's in full war mode. I'm like, what's going on? He said, just watch me and pay attention. So he takes a bomb. Like, what's a bomb? When you take a strip of your sheet, you take the strip, fold it in half, put it around your fingers, wrap it up, pull the fuse through, light it. And it's like a flame that lasts long enough to melt down and make whatever it's like a Bunsen burner, but made out of sheets. So he over there burning his sheet. I don't know what he's doing, but I'm watching. He take the VO5 bottle, bam, melt the bottle down. He roll it. Because I'm not knowing, I'm kind of knowing, but I'm like, I'm thinking like, I really didn't just start this riot that's about to happen. We about to go out and take flight on the LA Bloods because of what I did. And so when he done making a knife, he say, now put this in your ass cheeks. You want me to put this in my ass cheeks? He said, yeah, because you got to get it outside. Now, he already had something, man. He already had something fat already. But now he done gave me this motherfucking melted down piece of turd and told me to put it in my ass. And so he said, now practice. So I put it in my cheeks and I practiced walking back and forth to the door. I'm like, it's slipping. He said, we ain't got no time for that. So I worked on my little clutchers. I'm good now. But in my mind, I'm scared as shit. I ain't gonna lie, I'm scared as shit. I ain't been in this. Now I've been on this level 4 yard about a month and a half. I'm still 18. Scared as shit. We get out to the yard though. what ended up happening is a couple of homies caught some fades in other buildings, and that was the end of it. But I'm still not knowing the gravity of these situations that I'm causing at 18 years old on the yard.
So, in your opinion, what led to the breakdown of the alliance with the blacks in the Northerners?
Oh, now we're getting deep. I can say this. Constant bickering amongst each other and constant posturing. In 2005, when I left Salinas Valley and went to Solano. And when we got there, we were already on lockdown with the Northerners. So what had happened? For lockdown, the Northerners were on lockdown for a riot that happened with us, and it wasn't just one; it was multiple riots with the blacks and Northerners, like 3-4 of them. You know how when you go on lockdown, whatever, and y'all have peace talks, and then you'd be like, okay, yeah, we gonna be cool, right? And then they come off a lockdown and they take flight again.
Right.
So what happened is it was a soccer game between Sacramento and the Northerners. And in this soccer game, soccer gets physical. That's why a lot of racists don't play sports in prison.
So the brothers was playing soccer?
Yeah, hey man, we multifaceted in Sacramento, man. We could do it all.
Okay, I done seen some brothers playing soccer before in prison, so go ahead,
Yeah, and so one of the homie G got into it with the Northerner on the field. Northerner was woofing, and G knocked him. Bam! Knocked him out. And G was built like a rock lord. I'm talking about if you could probably knock on his bicep, you could probably knock on it and hear something. That's how solid G was. The dude tried to. I don't know if it was the same dude that got up and tried to redeem himself, but he knocked him down twice too. So riot kick off. Solano has a gym. And in this gym, none of the Northern, because Northerners got mandatory program, they got to be out unless they are on some type of post or something. And so the Northerners that were in the gym, they got beat up and chased around. But the thing was, people was stealing their stuff, going in their lockers, because the yard is down on the outside. Right. So they having their free reign in this gym. They stealing the Northerners' jeans, they shoes, they boom boxes, all that stuff. And in a sense, all is fair in war, right? But we coming off lockdown now, and if I'm a Northerner, I'm looking at this young Crip dude wearing my shit. How would you feel? I don't care if you said we peace or not. My grandma bought me them. My mama bought me them. And so the Northerners took flight again. And so that was riot number 2. They tried to have peace talks. Riot number 3. And so then the final thing that happened was the homie Taz was in his cell, right? And he was the Northerners was burning. They was burning plastic, like plastic. They was making just what I said earlier. And the homie went and in Solano, you could pretty much smell what's going on in your neighbor's cell. You can smell it. And so Taz was like, man, I can't breathe in this bitch. Like, man. And so when he came out of his cell, he was like, man, what the fuck was up with that? They took that knife and put it on the window and said, dope, dope, dope. And showed him the knife. He was like, what the fuck's that for? They said, because when we come off, we're going to stab your bitch ass, right?
Yeah.
So we have a meeting because we trying to have peace talks with the Northerners.
Right.
We're trying. And so the agreement was, and I ain't going to say the homie's name, but the agreement was, well, I'm going to say, no, I ain't going to say his name, but he's the head of the SAC card at this moment because we don't do shot callers. We just have representatives and people that's entitled because of their status of the work that they put in or they age or whatever.
Right.
So, but he ain't. I'm fresh off of 48 laws and all this shit. I'm in full strategic war mode. And so the agreement is they're gonna get rid of their homies. And we allegedly are supposed to get rid of Taz. But we don't know this because the person that's speaking to them ain't told us that was the agreement that he made.
Now,
he didn't tell us.
Real quick, you said they are going to get rid of they're supposed to get rid of their homies. What homies are you referring to?
The ones that was burning the plastic that said we're gonna stab your bitch ass because that's threatening another race.
Okay. All right.
Right. So, but our representative talked to their representative because they want to come off a lockdown. And we ain't even tripping on them coming off a lockdown. But in order to come off, this is what has to happen. He gotta go and they gotta go. Right. And what happened is, man, they came out and they tore their ass up. The Northerners told they folks up. All the while,
the Northerners came out and handled their business as agreed upon with their folks.
Yes. Okay. They told them both of their asses up. And as a statement of we handling our business, but all the while we don't know. We supposed to handle our business on our homie. But we love our homie. We ain't doing that. And we would have told them from the beginning, that's not possible. It's not gonna happen. So we gotta figure out something else. So what happened is when we came off a lockdown, or when they came off a lockdown, they pretty much locked down all the other buildings so they can wait and see, because the whole yard knows what's about to happen. But we just have to see. And sure enough, the homie that was the representative, his cell was in the first. That's how karma goes. His cell was in the first cell of the cells to be released.
No.
So the doors open. He come out. He go up to the Northerner, shake his hand. And when he shake the Northerner's hand, he pull him in and say, man, give me a real hug. Hey, looky here. Man, that motherfucking Northerner Sally must have came from behind the homie and got to slice the homie up, all type of shit. And next thing, hey, I mean, the blacks that was in the day room, I mean, it was broomsticks, chairs, wheelchairs, crutches, all that. It wasn't a pretty scene.
And so but, I got a little bit lost. So the Northerners wanted you guys to remove what homie? They wanted you to remove the homie that the Northerners said they was gonna stab?
Yes. Because he was threatening too. He was saying out of pocket stuff. He had a nutty. He threw a nutty, as we used to say.
Right.
He threw a nutty and really was threatening them too.
Both disrespectful parties were supposed to be removed, and the brothers failed to remove the brother that was being disrespected.
Yeah, but it really wasn't the brothers. It was our representative didn't tell us that this was part of the agreement. Oh, he just came back and said, yeah, they're gonna handle their folks.
Right. Oh, okay.
Left it at that.
Right.
So that's why he paid the price.
Right.
That's why he was the one to get stabbed up. No, I'm saying I'm be doing to us. That's why, like we didn't know that was part of the agreement until we asked the Northerners, like, why did y'all take flight on the homie? Like, why? What happened?
Right.
You didn't handle y'all business, and that's how it go.
Okay.
That's how it go.
And so let me ask you this, right? Because you always keep it real. In your opinion, was the breakdown between the blacks and the Northerners due to the undisciplined blacks who was doing time at that particular prison? Just pretty much no structure, and sometimes, brothers crossing the line.
During that time, it wasn't going on just in that prison. Like it was going on up and down California, where the blacks was getting into it with Northerners, particularly like High Desert, Susanville, I heard, and there at Corcoran, like I heard, like it was going down. And this was the first time in the history of niggerdom that I heard that the North and the South was coming together and they was forming something called La Raza. This is in 2005. I remember later on, like a couple years back, like that really was coming to fruition, like North and South together, because in Solano during this time, the North and the South were both into it with blacks and they were helping each other. So that was a real reality. And there were a lot of rumors floating around and everything. But the main thing was that they said a kite came from the chute that's pretty much stated that blacks are no longer our allies and are to be treated as hostiles. And that came from the chute, and that's what we heard. So all that alliance stuff, that was over. So
let me ask you, at that time when you was doing time and this, alleged kite had hit the yard and stuff, how did the brothers take that? How did the Crips and the Bloods, did they decide, okay, well, hey, you know what? We got to start getting ourselves together. We got to tighten up and start making this a black thing. And if not, why you think they failed to do something like that? I'm gonna say that was
a big blackness time in Solano. Like the blacks was together. There wasn't no separating blood, crip. Even though we had our respectives, but everybody knew what was expected to if you was going to be on this yard and survive because they wasn't doing no plan. And that in Solano at that time, like the weapons that they had was not normal weapons. Like all them old school knives you used to see in the penitentiary movies, the Christmas trees and all that, pull out your inner knives. Oh yeah, all of that was floating around. And a lot of people died in the Solano that you don't hardly hear about because it was that violent and it had that many drugs that people were ODing and dying on a regular basis. But this is supposed to be a quote unquote level 3. So because of the violence, it used to be a wide open, fun drug prison. But because of the violence, now the expectations as young homies is high. You better work out, get your money, and keep your nose clean. And be ready. And that's why when I caught a staff assault in Solano, I don't know if you want to hear about that, but I caught a staff assault in Solano that sent me away for about 11 months to the hole. And when I came back, that's when the Southsiders attacked.
Okay, and so most definitely, man, give us that staff assault. How did that happen to come about?
So at this time, coming from a level 4, I had never seen a cell phone. Coming from Salinas Valley, there was no cell phones in there. Might have been rumors of 1 or 2 or something, but it really wasn't. Not that we could use. So, but when I get to Solano level 3, I want to talk to my people. So the homie let me use his phone. So I'm in the cell with the phone. The other homie in the building let me use the DVD player with the porn on it. So I'm watching the porn. I'm on the phone. I'm doing my thing. I'm feeling Big Willie-ish.
Now hold on. One of your homies in the prison has got a DVD player. So obviously some type of staff has provided this dude with a DVD player. So what was that like, man, by you being able to see this porn? And you had, because if you had went to prison when in 94, 95, 96, these things was pretty much foreign to you. So what was it like seeing this type of stuff in prison?
Oh man, it blew my mind. I ain't gonna lie. It's like when I first got to Solano, I could feel that there was just a lot going on here. Like it's a lot going on, and I want in. And because of the money that was flowing through that, yeah, you're gonna have these things. And so the DVD player was the little square ones, and I already had an Iowa TV with the little RCA jacks. Because back then, if you had a TV with RCA jacks, that was the shit. And so I plugged it in. I had my TV. Remember the swivel stands that we used to make?
Right.
So the TV could move. I had a TV on that, and I was waiting for nighttime so I could really watch this stuff, but I didn't get that chance. And so
what happened?
So my Crip partner Void, he from Stockton, Northside Gangster Crip. They put us in a cell because of one of the riots. I had got into like 3 riots in Solano, so me and him was cellies because they didn't have no place to put us. So I'm selling with a Crip. And we sitting there talking about like, shit, how are we going to do it when we get back on the line? And I told him, watch this. So when I get back to the line, I hit him I turned my TV on the swivel and said, see, told you. And so he came, man, he had just made a batch of drink. He kept going to the cell, getting drink, coming to the door, trying to watch, like, let me see, Dirk, let me see. And the police, you know how it is when traffic keep coming to your door. Right. They're going to be like, what's going on up in there? And so, man, they come to the door. We got the sheets. I'm behind the sheet on the phone. The door in Solano, you ever heard about the lights in Solano?
No,
They can turn the light on from outside your cell.
Oh, okay.
It's a button that turns the light on so they can see. And next thing you know, the light click, click, click. And I look around the sheet, and it's the police telling me to step out. I put the phone in my pocket. And the DVD, ain't nothing I could do about that. I'm going process of elimination. And I had some heroin sitting on the shelf, and I ate that in front of them. So now they like, yeah, now you're going to potty watch. All right. So they open the door. I get against the wall real quick. And I probably say about 2 seconds later, somebody said, hey, Miss Valdez. They called her name. I'm gone. I'm running across the day room. You already know what can happen when you're running. You already know. They bust at me with that block gun. Blah, blah. They ain't hit me, but they shooting, and them block guns echo loud in that building. But it makes long story short, I run up the stairs, throw the throw the phone under the white boy's door. They open the door, the phone sitting right there. They spray me up both sides, tear me and my polo dreads up. And so I end up going to the hole thinking I'm going to potty watch, which is what they did. I just went to potty watch. But while I was on potty watch, they brought me a lockup order that said staff assault. And so what happened is this Miss Valdez, punk bitch, excuse me, but Valdez said I bursted out the cell with enough force, stiff arm, to make her step backwards, to make her take a step backwards. And really, she told me to step out the cell, and I got against the wall. And so they take my ass to this hole for these 11 months, right? Send me to a different prison. And we have the hearing. I lose in the hearing. I lose because basically they said they got to take her word over mine, even though she didn't switch arms in this hearing. She didn't said I pushed her with the right arm. I'm like, see, she lied. But he had to take her word, right?
Right.
So he goes back to Solano and finishes his disposition. Next thing you know, I get out the hole. And I'm thinking I'm about to go level 4 because I didn't got found guilty of this staff assault. But they sent me back to Solano. And then that's when the Southsiders attack again. I'm on A yard. And I'm there for about 5 days. And I'm on the night yard in front of the SAP building. And 5 Mexicans come around the corner. Like 5 Mexicans. And I asked my partner, Cheese, Blood, what is these? What are they? It really didn't matter because remember, I just came from the other yard, right? Where we into it with the north and the south, like it's up. So it doesn't matter what they is, but I'm asking the homie if he know. He said, I don't know.
Set the scene for us, okay? So at this particular institution, the blacks you said are at odds with the northerners and the southerners due to previous altercations, I guess, of violence. So are the blacks off program and are the blacks having program and the southerners are on lockdown? Or
that's right. And I like the way that you ask the questions and make me double back and explain, because I don't never want to go over nobody's head because there's real important keys in that. Right. And so B yard, when I had left, we was into it with the north and the south. Now A yard is into it with just the south because there's not that many northerners. We're into it with the Southsiders because of the basketball court. There's 2 basketball courts, upper, lower. And the blacks is coming and playing on both of them. And the Southsiders been on lockdown already for something else, for something on their own. So they like, man, they go to the blacks on the upper yard like, we need a basketball court. The blacks told them fuck themselves. And they took off on all the OG blacks and all the blacks that was around that basketball court. They took off. And so they have been on lockdown for about 2 months at this time. Now, I don't know about this. I've been gone to ASEG, so I don't know. So now the Mexicans are starting to get escorts. Like they're starting to finally get uncuffed escorts because once you go on lockdown, all movement is controlled and you're going to be cuffed up. And like they'll cuff. There were times like if a person is going to ASEG, they'll lay the yard down while they're escorting them to the ASEG.
Okay.
So now they're not doing that no more. And they're not cuffing them because they're allegedly supposed to come off a lockdown.
And at this time, the blacks are having normal program, which means that they haven't been on lockdown. So the blacks are outside having regular program, playing basketball, going to work, doing whatever, while the Southern Hispanics are on lockdown, right?
While they're on lockdown.
Okay.
So here's the scene. Me and my partner, we in front of the SAP building, which is 6th building. These Southsiders then got a medical transport, like they take medication or whatever they getting from the MTA. So they walked them across to the MTA. And so when they came back, going back to their respective buildings, the SAP building was the first building that they was stopping at. And we were on the side. There was about 4 or 5 blacks out there already. And we were on the side of the building, just chilling, but on guard. I was ready because where I just came from, the other yard, but the homie wasn't. And so just like we kind of figured, the 2 that was in the back, because they was in like 2s. They was in 2s. Wow. The 2 that was in the back whispered. And when they whispered, they broke formation and all picked their target. The one that ran at me, I already seen he had a blade in his hand. As soon as I saw that, shing, I ran at him. When I ran at him, we start thumping, boom, 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 and I slipped in the mud because it was muddy out there. And when he got on top of me, and I promise you, I had his hands, I had his hands, and we were like tussling. Like if I would have let go of his hands, it would have been over for me. But I held him long enough for about 3 Crips to come and save my ass. And I really want to say save my life, because there's no telling what could have happened. But they came over there, Snoop, shout out to y'all from Stockton. We got him off and we did our thing. And so when the smoke cleared from all the smoke, all the pepper spray, the bombs, this gunshots, all that, not I don't think they didn't shoot the many. They could have easily shot that many, but they didn't. And when the smoke cleared, they said, we need a gunning for this one. Stat. And it was the homie Cheese that was standing right next to me that I was talking to. And he had been sliced up so bad that when he stood up, it just looked like his body started raining blood because he had been sliced so many times. But the problem was his slices was on the arm, the neck, the face. So what does that say? Defensive wounds. Right. That means you rolled up and the motherfucker just sat there and went to work. And I promise you, it was an ugly sight too. When they took him to the MTA first, when you can't make this up. When they walked me by a handcuff, because I'm all right, man. They had him in a bed with so much gauze around his face. The only thing he could muster up and say is, "Hey, when we get back to the yard, I want to hear them raps again." Because we was rapping. One, I'm excited to be out the hole. 2, I'm excited to let the homie hear my music.
Right.
That's what we was doing there. And then both our lives changed.
For those of you who may not be familiar with the prison terminology, the prison guards have a Mini 14 rifle that shoots 223 shells. And when people start, become involved in violent activities, if they happen to see a weapon, they are allowed to shoot. To shoot, of course, the Mini 14. So that's what he was referring to. And
yeah.
So, did you ever find out what exactly happened to Cheese if he ended up with a bunch of stitches and stuff like that?
Oh, definitely. He looked like Zipper Face. But what happened is, to bring closure to the earlier story, how they tie together. So they sent me to the hole. I didn't see Cheese after MTA. After I walked by him at the MTA, they sent me to the hole. Remember, I've been found guilty of this staff assault. So I'm thinking they accidentally sent me back to Solano. It was an accident. That's what I'm thinking. So now I'm going to committee in the ad seg so they can kick me out from this riot, and they start to read my RVR. Remember what the technical term of the RVR is?
Rules violation report.
Rules violation report. So they say the inmate has a charge of staff staff assault, what was later adjudicated to disobey the direct order, and we request that he be kicked out to the yard. I'm like, what? They didn't even tell me that I had been beat the staff assault.
Oh, okay.
I would have got out the hole 4 months earlier if the final copy caught up to where I was at. It didn't even catch up. So for 4 months I sat in the hole and was just sitting there until I come back to Solano getting a ride. Now I find out I didn't beat this charge. All this time I was living stressed out.
Now, I wanted to ask you this though. What does that do to your psyche when you're in prison, where you've seen and heard of several people being attacked, losing their lives and stuff like this, and then you yourself are also attacked, by the grace of God, you get some help, you get saved from real severe injury. But what does that do to your psyche when you're locked in prison where it's a war zone going on, and one day you might be cool speaking to your next door neighbor who happens to be Hispanic, and then the next day he's fighting, you guys are into it because of something that happened on the yard, and still in all, this dude is trying to kill you. What does that do, when you have to live like that?
Man, that's where That's where the real damage happens, that you have to literally desensitize yourself to prison politics and understand that comes with the territory. And that's why they be like gangster to gangster. Like, you understand what you signed up for. And a lot of times it'd be a lot of innocent victims in these riots and stuff that start from people that had nothing to do with nobody.
Right. And you know what? I don't know if I mentioned earlier in the interview, but you also have a prison YouTube yourself, Dirty Weather 916. You tell your prison stories, and you had spoken to me earlier about you actually told that story, and one of the dudes who attacked you came on your page and left a comment.
Yeah, straight up. That's straight up, man. The dude came on when I told that story at first, it got like 84,000 views. I mean, but the dude came on the story and was like, I'm in my chat was like, that's a cold, small world. He said that night, that was my cellie that attacked you in particular. And he's a cool dude. And that night he walked me through in this comment about, the mind frame and the process of what they went through. And ultimately he apologized. He was like, man, that's our bad, man. And he was like, it's messed up that this happened to you. And I'm glad that you came out okay. And it's hope there's no hard feelings. And then I ended up talking to him, later, behind the scenes. But yeah, man, that's the thing about prison stories, man. It's people that's in them stories. And if it's your story is bull crap, it's somebody that'll call you on it.
And I definitely agree with you. And I like that, many of times I've told stories and people will leave comments who happen with people who will come validate my story in the comments, people who was there, people who've seen stuff. And that also points out to, it all just depends, man. I believe that prison doesn't necessarily make a person a racist. That bit of racism was already in a person's heart because, like you said, here's a Hispanic dude who reached out to you to let you know, man, hey, pretty much sorry. That stuff just happened because of how prison is structured, but man, no hard feelings. And so it just, you have a lot of people on both sides, Hispanics, blacks trying to stir the pot and saying that this particular side don't like that particular side, but sometimes it's just the happenings of prison.
These niggas ain't who they say they is, so beware. Fuck what you saying, cause these cowards ain't playing fair. They shoot at you shoot at them, they snitch, and they don't care. Fuck gang banging, I'd rather be a square. These niggas ain't who they say they is, so beware. Fuck what you saying, cause these cowards ain't playing fair. They shoot at you shoot at them, they snitch, and they don't care. Fuck gang banging, I'd rather be a square. Yeah.
I swear to God, the game is cold, homie.
Why?
I popped on a pussy ass nigga after he stole on me.
What happened next?
That nigga gained a court and told on me.
Put that on something.
That's on my soul, homie. Called the highway patrol on me, plus the sheriffs and cops. He told him my name was Eric and I carried the block. Soon as you start blowing shots, them niggas going to jail. They'll have a meeting with the cops and then you going to jail. They'll tell him about the shooting, take him, show him his well. DA trying to seal your casket, they gon' throw him the nails. They wanna put me back in the cell and have me with an L again. Same strip searches and guards reading my mail again. Had me far away in the bay, I'm talking Pelican. Eating cold ass soy burgers and warm gelatin. I'm far too intelligent to fall for that twice. Niggas yelling gang gang and ain't about that life. And they'll turn rat right in front of your face. Get you found guilty plus 100 years on the case. Your mama sitting in the courtroom with tears on her face. Her baby shackled feet, hands and waist.
Goddamn, these niggas ain't who they say they is, so beware. Fuck what you saying, cause these cowards ain't playing fair. They shoot at you shoot at them, they snitch, and they don't care. Fuck gang banging, I'd rather be a square. These niggas ain't who they say they is, so beware. Fuck what you saying, cause these cowards ain't playing fair. They shoot at you shoot at them, they snitch, and they don't care. Fuck gang banging, I'd rather be a square. Yeah.